The galaxy had seen its fair share of turmoil. Wars spanning light years, civilizations rising and falling, alliances forged and broken, it was all part of the grand tapestry of interstellar existence. Among these, humans had always been a peculiar anomaly. Their resilience was baffling, their adaptability unmatched, and their determination, unsettling. To many species, humanity was a curious footnote in the galaxy's annals. To others, they were a persistent annoyance. But to the wise, they were a warning. No one had ever managed to push humanity to its breaking point. Until now. It started with an oversight, or at least that's what the Galactic Federation claimed. A mining conglomerate under their jurisdiction had trespassed onto the edge of human territory. The humans, still licking their wounds from the last resource skirmish, protested. The Federation ignored them, citing bureaucracy and red tape. After all, humans were still a young species by galactic standards, barely holding a handful of star systems. They were seen as noisy upstarts, more bark than bite. The mining continued. Planets were stripped of resources, leaving barren wastelands in their wake. Human colonies dependent on those planets struggled to survive. Aid was slow, apologies slower, and reparations non-existent. Human ambassadors pleaded, argued, even threatened. The Federation's response was tepid at best, a few hollow promises, a committee to investigate. Weeks turned into months, months into years. And all the while, the miners dug deeper, unchecked. Humanity's breaking point wasn't an explosion. It wasn't a fiery speech or a grand battle. It was a quiet moment, in a small council chamber on Earth. The leaders of humanity sat in grim silence as the latest report was delivered. Another colony abandoned. Another set of lives lost. The room was filled with the weight of unspoken words. Then, a single voice broke the silence. No more. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't accompanied by a pounding fist or dramatic flourish. But the words carried a finality that sent chills through everyone present. Humanity had reached its limit. The question was no longer what the galaxy would take from them, but what they would do about it. The first step was unification. Human factions, long divided by politics, culture, and history, set aside their differences. The United Earth Confederation was formed, a coalition stronger and more determined than any before. Resources were pooled, technologies shared, and strategies devised. The galaxy's spies watched with growing unease as humanity transformed itself. Their military, once scattered and outdated, became a streamlined, relentless force. Their scientists pushed boundaries, creating innovations that defied conventional understanding. And their people carried a fire in their eyes that no other species could comprehend. The Federation didn't notice the shift at first. To them, humanity's silence was a sign of defeat, not preparation. When the first human warships appeared on the fringes of Federation space, it was dismissed as posturing. When entire mining operations vanished overnight, it was chalked up to pirate activity. But when a Federation fleet sent to investigate failed to return, the galaxy began to pay attention. Humanity's retaliation was methodical. They didn't strike with blind rage but with calculated precision. Key supply lines were severed, communication hubs disabled, and strategic outposts captured. The Federation scrambled to respond, but they were unprepared for the ferocity and ingenuity of their enemy. Human ships employed tactics that defied conventional logic, using their smaller numbers to devastating effect. Every battle was a lesson, every loss a stepping stone to victory. As the war dragged on, the galaxy watched in awe and horror. Stories spread of human soldiers who fought with an almost supernatural determination, of engineers who turned the tide of battles with last-minute innovations, of leaders who inspired unwavering loyalty. The Federation's allies began to waver, questioning whether they wanted to face humanity's wrath. But humanity's true strength wasn't in their ships or weapons. It was in their unity. For the first time in their history, they stood as one. Every colony, every planet, every individual played a part. Farmers grew food for soldiers, engineers built weapons, scientists developed cures for the wounded. Even artists contributed, creating works that inspired hope and resilience. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival, they were fighting for each other. The turning point came at the Battle of Korath's Maw. The Federation had amassed a fleet unlike any seen before, determined to crush humanity once and for all. They outnumbered the human forces 10-1. Victory seemed assured. But the humans had other plans. Using a combination of stealth technology and guerrilla tactics, they lured the Federation fleet into a trap. The ensuing battle was chaos. Human ships darted between the massive Federation vessels, exploiting weaknesses and sowing confusion. When the dust settled, the Federation's fleet was in ruins, and humanity stood victorious. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity had proven they were not to be trifled with. But what would they do next? Revenge was a tempting path, and many feared humanity would seek to burn the Federation to the ground. Instead, they extended an olive branch. It wasn't forgiveness, but an offer of coexistence. The Federation, battered and humbled, accepted. Humanity's breaking point had been a turning point for the galaxy. They had shown that even the smallest spark could ignite a fire that burned across the stars. They had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget: never underestimate humanity. And as they began to rebuild, they carried with them a new purpose. They were no longer just survivors. They were pioneers, dreamers, and warriors. And their story was far from over.